Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Hope everyone is okay. Hope everyone who is in the US or Americans abroad enjoyed their 4th of July. Please hit that thumbs up button and hit that subscribe button as well. We are almost at 17,000. Almost there. I think we're only 40 subscribers away. So please, if you're watching this and you look down and that subscribe button is red, please do hit it, because according to my stats, a lot of you who listen aren't subscribed. And if you're not subscribed, then you're not going to get notifications. So to make sure that you can catch lives on time, hit that subscribe button. All right, let's get to it, shall we? I can see Lola Love. You said, I can't do a whole lot of writing on chat today because of the pain from arthritis in my hands and fingers. Just to know that I'm listening. Thank you so much, Lola Love. You could be anywhere in the world, but you are here with us. Do appreciate it. And I'm so sorry that you are struggling with your arthritis. Luna, I finally made it to live. Glad to have you here. So glad to have you here. Glad to have all 400 of you in the chat so far here. Wendy, love that song. Great banger. I think it's called All Eyes on Me, but I can't remember who it's by. So I'll try and find out when I play when I play it for the outro. I'll try and remember who the artist is. Right, let's start off with the good news, as we always like to do here. Good news. Good news is that Dan Wooten is absolutely tanking in the ratings. So there's a very, very long table of all the big networks and their most popular shows in the UK: ITV, BBC One, BBC Two, Channel 5, all of them. And of course, Dan Wooten is on GB News. What I did was I enlarged the top rated and the bottom rated. And right at the top, we have ITV with a 2850.8 score. And then all the way at the bottom, Dan Wooten Tonight on GB News with 86.9. Only 86,000 people watched Dan Wooten ranting. Those 86,000 people should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. Could be doing something better with your life. But no, they would rather listen to the constant vitriol being spewed about Harry and Meghan. And really, if he's not spewing vitriol about Harry and Meghan or interviewing Thomas Markle or Samantha Markle or the half brother, really, does this guy get any views? GB News pretty much runs on outrage media. There's nothing informative about it. There's nothing balanced about it. It's just pure outrage media. And it's always the same recycled topics over and over and over again. So hopefully he'll be on his way out, and the verdict is still out whether or not or how involved he was with phone hacking or I don't think phone hacking, but blagging. There was some kind of deal that was done where he had paid off or allegedly for the lawyers listening. There was some kind of payoff for stories from the palace. Right, Kate and Roger Federer. Now, when this started trending yesterday, to be honest, I didn't really pay too much attention to it. I'm always very conscious of the fact that because we are obviously pro Harry and Meghan and more critical of the royals, I'm always still very careful to just not nitpick over everything. And I really wasn't going to make like a whole big deal out of this, but the internet had other ideas. And people won't stop talking about Kate's interactions with Roger and the look on Roger's wife's face. And if you look at the pictures, I mean, it really did just seem like she was not, mind you, there's been a couple of times throughout the week where Kate and Roger Federer have done other appearances. But it just really looks like, you see in the bottom picture where it's like she's just walking past her. It's like she barely acknowledges her. And Roger's wife is like, that kind of awkward smile that doesn't quite hit the eyes. It kind of just like stays in the cheeks. And then you see the top picture where she's just looking very frustrated. And, kind of pursing her lips and looking down. And if it was Meghan, she would have been a lot more inclusive, just, making her feel more comfortable. It's really just not a good look. This was meant to be a ceremony where, Roger was being given some kind of award for something. I don't know if it was an award, but they were just congratulating him for, success in his career. And to see this look on his wife's face in a moment like this, it's very unfortunate, and I just feel like Kate could have done more to make her feel included. It's just like she's just talking to him, and it's just interesting that she seems more engaged with Roger than she does with her own husband, and her own husband seems more engaged with his auntie than he does with his own wife. And can you imagine if it was Meghan behaving like this, what people would say? Nobody would stand for this. And also, I also didn't realize until it was pointed out to me on social that she was wearing a similar outfit to Diana. I have a theory about this whole thing about dressing like Diana. I wonder if it's some weird way of her potentially trying to get some sympathy via looking like Diana or trying to channel her. That's maybe a way of her getting some sympathy, or I don't know. I just don't understand why at Kate's age she can't just have a sense of original style. Why have you always got to look like your sister-in-law who um you act like you hate, but you dress like her? Why have you always got to try and channel your deceased mother-in-law? It just doesn't make any sense to me. You're a grown woman, you should have your own sense of personality, own sense of style. I can understand maybe on special occasions, if it was maybe just a couple of times to show a nod and show some respect, but it's often very strange. And yeah, the internet just won't stop talking about the interactions between Roger and Kate. Yeah, it was very rude not acknowledging her. And there was also a video where you see Kate say something to Roger, and he kind of looks away awkwardly and looks at his watch like, oh my God, how much longer do I have to bear this? Like, it's just so awkward. And he even moves closer to his wife in that moment as well. I don't know what Kate said to him, but whatever it was, he just seemed very awkward and uncomfortable. On to the next thing. So the NHS turned 75 this week. If you were to ask me what makes you proud to be British, the first thing I would probably say is the NHS and the fact that we can offer free healthcare, albeit it's paid through our taxes, but it's a very small amount that we all pay through our taxes to ensure that everybody gets good healthcare and nobody's stuck with giant medical bills. However, through Tory austerity during the last 2 decades, that has been chipped away at very, very slowly. Um, and then you also have Tony Blair, who was uh, Labour Prime Minister, but in my opinion, just a Tory dressed in sheep's clothing, who's now calling for expanded role for the private sector in the NHS. I don't know why this war criminal is chiming in, but like I said, Tory in sheep's clothing. And you had, he's also very close to Murdoch, by the way. And you had Charles and Camilla, who went to visit some healthcare workers to celebrate the big 75th birthday of the NHS. With cake, of course. Yes, let the peasants eat cake while we spent £250 million on a coronation. £250 million that could have gone to the NHS. And I don't suppose anybody in that room had the balls to ask why we couldn't have spent that money on our national healthcare service. Mind you, healthcare workers have been protesting for better pay and better conditions this last year. Despite all the work that they did during the pandemic, it's just been a slap in the face, and the government have been pushing back. So if it was me personally, and I was a healthcare worker, I would have refused to meet these people. Because what has anybody in the royal family said about the conditions of healthcare workers, the pay of healthcare workers, and also because of the austerity cuts, the level of service in the NHS is also unfortunately declining. But there they were, cutting cake for the peasants. And despite £250 million that we spent on the first coronation, there was also a somewhat more scaled down second coronation for Charles in Scotland today. And here, Here is the modern slimmed down monarchy that is going to get all the kids raving and standing for the monarchy going forward. This is the new modern slimmed down monarchy. Like, what do I even say to this? What is there to say to this? Those of you who have, young teens, Gen Z in your households, are they checking for this? The only way I can see them youngins checking for this is on the TikToks, making funny videos and memes. And this picture right here, this just says it all. Are these people at a coronation or are they at a funeral? They look utterly miserable, stone cold. This is what it looks like when you build a gold gilded cage for yourself and you have to sit in it. Just how unfortunate is this? Oh, a church, Nelly, thank you for being a member for 11 months. That's just come up on my feed. Thank you, Church Nelly. And thank you for being an amazing mod and always being here and entertaining us. Thank you so much. But yeah, look at this picture. What does this picture say to you? I want to know in the chat, in less than 5 words, or 5 words or less, sorry, describe this. Best caption wins. Right. To your comments. Let's see. Yeah, let them eat cake. Literally. Literally let them eat cake. Let them eat cake while we pay them peanuts and continue to privatize our National Health Service. Oh dear. Rochelle, and it was reported that the NHS has a 6 to 7 million patients waiting list. That wouldn't surprise me. And there's probably been a huge backlog because of the Mr. C pandemic. I actually know someone, um, the husband of a woman who goes to my mum's church. Because of the Mr. C pandemic, they restricted a lot of services, which I did not think was a good idea. I did not think that was in the public's interest. But they restricted a lot of services, and this individual's husband was going through cancer treatment, and a couple of his treatments got pushed back, and he unfortunately actually his situation got very aggressive, and he passed away. So when I think of things like that, and I look at these grand displays of wealth, which are paid for by the taxpayer, I just don't know how anyone can justify any of this still. And then also how people are still so hateful towards the two members of this family that decided we want to go off and make our own money. In fact, even when Harry and Meghan were within the fold of the firm, they said that they wanted to be half in and half out and make their own money. And thank goodness they are not here now, because they would be used as whipping boys, despite the fact that all the royals enjoy this ridiculous level of wealth while people are suffering. Yeah, Sharif, I always knew that Tony Blair was not Labour. He was like Margaret Thatcher light, but somehow he still appealed to the Labour base. That needs to be studied. Joe Blogs and a couple of Scottish ministers refused to attend the ceremony, but the main one went though, didn't he? Didn't he go with his wife? Rosa, is there any political ideology outside conservatism in the UK? Seems like the two main political parties are conservative. I don't see any liberal or independent groups. Yes, there are liberal and independent groups. There are the Liberal Democrats, but they are like very, very, very far left. They did gain some power, and they were actually in coalition government when when David Cameron was in power, but they ended up losing their popularity. Labour is meant to be the more kind of like moderate um, to the left, um, but any of the leaders like Jeremy Corbyn, who have been good candidates, just kind of got pushed out. And then you've got like now Kai Starmer, who I mean, he was knighted by Charles, so I think that tells you kind of where he sits. So unfortunately, Labour just doesn't really have a leader right now that is for the people. I feel anyway. I'm sure maybe there's some people who are listening to me who are Labour who might disagree, but I don't feel like we have a candidate at the moment. Hopefully, one will come through. Um, but I don't see any of the other kind of like Liberal Democrats or independent groups becoming popular right now. Especially with so much going on, I think that people want some kind of stability, so they tend to go for what they know. Mm. There's also the Green Party, but yeah, they just don't get enough votes to be a main contender. What's this mad wisdom? You're saying controversy has swept across the UK as a whooping £8 million in taxpayer money has been allocated for the painting and distribution of King Charles. I mean, they seem to spend a lot of money on these things, don't they? Like, I remember there was going to be a coronation book that was going to be distributed to schools, and that was going to cost something like £12 million. I mean, why not just spend that money on the schools? Oh, Jesus. Thank you so much to Alan Venon for the super chat. You said, I hope they get their necklace back from Kate before it goes missing. Yeah, that is the Queen's necklace, and she's also wearing Diana's earrings. What's also interesting about Kate's outfit is that she's not wearing the robes that the others are wearing. Now, to my understanding, you have to be part of the Order of the Thistle, whatever that means, in order to wear these robes. And Kate was not given that order. Why she was not given that order, I don't know. I don't know why she's not entitled to it. Maybe somebody who understands these things can let us know in the chat. But she was not wearing the robes, and I don't know if that's because maybe she has to wait until until William is king, or there's another reason why she's not been given that title, and it's maybe because she's on the way out. I don't know. But they all look pretty darn miserable, and yes, Mina, completely out of touch with reality. I mean, the amount of money that we are probably spending on these people, can you not at least smile? Give us a smile, please. Lottie, thank you so much for the super sticker. Much appreciated. Yeah. Yes, even a funeral is more lively than this. I've actually seen some pretty live funerals. Like, not every funeral is sad. Some people want their funerals to be a party. And this right here, it's like 10 funerals happening at the same time. That is a level of sadness at what is meant to be a coronation. All right. Yeah, and compare the photos of the other royals to Harry and Meghan. Modern, chic, sexy. I mean, you can't even compare these two images. You cannot even compare. Who are young people going to follow into the future? Who are people going to be more interested in? I mean, I actually wonder, all the people who were hyped about the first coronation, did they even know that this coronation was happening today? I barely really saw any hype about this. Hi, EMG. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, money cannot buy you happiness. There you go. And our Not My King friends were there. Republic were there with their yellow signs. Quite a sizable showing up for the protests, people with different signs, King of the Tax Dodgers, only the tourists are cheering, and all the Not My King signs. So they were there. I believe there were a couple of arrests, according to one report. Witnesses say their banners read, "Turn the palace into social housing and no kings, no queens, no cops." Now, I think that the palaces should just be open for the public to go and pay to go and see, and that would also create employment opportunities. People would work there. You could charge to have civil ceremony. There's so much you could turn them into tea rooms. There's so much you could do that would actually pay for themselves, so we don't have to pay for them, and create jobs and opportunities for the people in those local areas instead of us shelling out tens of millions every single year to house these people that can pay for themselves given their vast fortunes. Right, also, I have actually not got it on a slide, but I think I have it in my notes. Yes, an update on Harry's trial. So this came through today. Prince Harry fights for trial in hacking case against Murdoch UK Group. Prince Harry on Wednesday fought to take his phone hacking lawsuit against Rupert Murdoch's UK newspaper arm to trial, asking London's High Court to let him rely on an alleged secret agreement between Britain's royal family and the publisher. Harry is going there, y'all. Harry, the younger son of King Charles, is suing Murdoch's newspaper group for multiple unlawful acts allegedly committed on behalf of its tabloids, The Sun and the now defunct News of the World. NGN, which has settled more than 1,000 phone hacking cases over the past decade. I don't even know a handful of who those cases were with. I'm assuming if there were over 1,000, part of the deal for settling may have been whoever settled had to sign an NDA and never talk about it again. I mean, have you ever heard in the history of modern law of any company settling with up to 1,000 people? I think the only type of companies that settle with that number of people are maybe like big pharma when something's like gone wrong with a medicine or something. 1,000 people, and this is a media company. This is a company that people are meant to have put their trust in. And despite that, people are still reading Murdoch papers. People are still reading Rothermere papers. And I add them to that because they're both in the same dirty pool. Anyway, NGN, which has settled more than 1,000 phone hacking cases over the past decade, applied in April to strike out Harry's claim, arguing he should have taken action sooner. Harry says he did not bring a lawsuit until 2019 because of an agreement between Buckingham Palace and senior figures at NGN to delay any lawsuits by the royal family until the end of all other phone hacking litigation brought against NGN. NGN denies there was such an agreement. I think that by doing that, they were basically just trying to delay Harry from bringing forward a case. On Wednesday, Harry's lawyers sought to rely on the alleged agreement to defeat NGM's bid to throw out this case and allow it to be heard at a trial in January, which will feature a similar claim by British actor Hugh Grant. Harry alleges NGN journalists or private investigators acting on their behalf unlawfully intercepted his voicemail messages and obtained private information such as phone bills and medical records by deception, which, of course, NGN denies. David Sherborne, seen on Harry's left in the picture, representing Harry, argued there was clear evidence of an agreement between NGN and the royal family, which meant Harry was unable to bring his lawsuit earlier. The fifth in line to the throne said in a witness statement made public in April that NGN settled his brother Prince William's claim for a huge sum of money in 2020 without any of the public being told. And the public absolutely had the right to know. But unfortunately, even now that the public do know, what are the public doing about it? Absolutely nothing. This is your future king making deals with Murdoch, when he could be doing what his brother is doing and holding the press accountable. But no, he needs to hide his own secrets and make sure that the press are on his side when he becomes king. If at all we get that far, because the way the monarchy is looking at the moment, looking all miserable and haggard, I don't know if we'll get that far. Anyway, the article continues. Harry also said his attempts to progress his case against NGN with the backing of the late Queen Elizabeth were stonewalled by NGN and royal aides. And it's interesting. It is interesting that the Queen actually supported this. And I'd love to know one day what was behind her decision. Was it just old age, wanting to do like one good thing before she left this earth? Because the monarch is meant to protect the crown at all costs. And going up against the press is definitely one thing that is going to put the crown in jeopardy. So I'd love to know more about what is it that convinced Lizzie to back Harry when it came to the press. Royal staff were in communication with Rebecca Brooks, now CEO of Murdoch's British arm, News UK and News Corp. So this is the woman that was front and center of the original phone hacking trial. Back working for Murdoch. She got a slap on the wrist. She apparently got £30 million to leave News of the World and step down, and back she is again. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And she was also obsessed with Harry when he was a young boy. Harry wrote about her in Spare. Sherborne argued in court filings on Wednesday that NGM had not provided any evidence from Brooks and Thompson, despite the evidence having been identified as critical. NGN's lawyers said that it had not provided evidence from Brooks and Thompson as they were not working at NGN in 2012 when the government was allegedly struck. Sorry, when the agreement, I don't know why I said government there, agreement was allegedly struck. The publisher also argues that even if there was a secret agreement between Buckingham Palace and the publisher, it would not apply until the end of other phone hacking claims. But if he was to wait until that time, then they would have used the same excuse that they're using now, that he waited too long. Harry's lawsuit against NGN is one of 4 cases he's bringing against British newspaper publishers, including a similar claim against Mirror Group newspapers, in which he's seeking damages of around £400,000. Get all the money, Harry. If you ask me, he's owed in the millions. But there you have it. Clear evidence of cooperation between the royals and the press. Yes, Chief Dilly. Hashtag not my king either. Hashtag not my king either. Right, that is all for me today. Thank you so much as always. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and that subscribe button before you leave. Keeping it short and sweet today. And I'll finish with your comments as always. You all are amazing. And I noticed that sales for my travel book went up like crazy yesterday. So thank you if there's anyone listening who actually did go and buy the book. Like I said, I put all of my travel secrets in there. So if want to know how to travel more, how to travel cheap, and all my travel hacks, they are in that book. It will be 99 cents for a couple more weeks before I put it back up to the full price. And yes, I am still working on my remote worker digital nomad book. That is to come as well. So if you're interested in working while traveling, like the way I do, that book is coming also. EMG said, I recently saw an old video of Diana offering a bunny to young William, which he rudely shunned. As soon as she gave it to Harry, he started yelling. He wanted the bunny. Hasn't changed, apparently. Yes, I've seen that video as well. Well, Diana also said herself that the firm would raise the heir, she would raise the spare. The heir is theirs. The spare is just there in case something happens to the heir. And it seems like, I mean, I'm sure Diana did her absolute best with both of her boys. She was obviously a very loving mother, but she was up against the whole institution. So she did her best with William, but ultimately, William was theirs. So I think she just tried to give a little bit more to Harry because she knew that he would be a lot more ignored by the firm, and we've seen it, or rather, Harry has told us, and we've read about it in Spare. Eating discount meat and shopping at TK Maxx. A whole prince living like a Cinderella. Thank you so much, Sonia. Yes, everyone have a lovely day. And do take a break from these royal streets if you feel like it's too much. Take a break, live your life. Like I always say here, I do believe that all is going to be well. Everything has pretty much gone Harry and Meghan's way. I think sometimes we can get so bogged down in the negative that we forget how much has actually gone their way, how much they've actually done, how much they've accomplished. And they want to continue to push this narrative that Harry and Meghan aren't doing well. They're building an entire entertainment company. Like they're not, they're not, they're not just trying to run like a small business. They are building an entire entertainment company and everything else that they're doing around that with the philanthropy and the little projects that they do. It's not just the big things like Netflix, it's the little things like when Megan donated, what was it, like 500 designer bags to SmartWorks? And sometimes we even forget about those little things that they do in between. So don't let all the negativity get you down. Harry and Meghan are still doing great. And like I always say, and actually how this channel started, use that as inspiration for your own lives. I want to hear about all of you doing amazing projects and starting businesses and, you know, use that as inspiration. We have two incredible people as role models. And so, look at what they're doing and try and emulate some of that in your own life. I certainly feel like I tried to do that. And look at what the derangers have. Misery, coldness, and feathered hats. Sylvia, you said, enjoy Istanbul. Please ensure that you buy some gold jewelry if you like the gold. Oh, how much is the gold? How much is gold nowadays? I mean, I stack a little bit of silver here and there, but gold, a little bit more expensive, no? Yeah, I've seen the gold, but I'm not sure I'll be buying any. But it is very pretty. I've seen it. Yes, let's pray for peace. No nuclear weapons. Alan, do you think maybe the Queen was being mistreated and her siding with Harry was her way of getting back? Interesting theory, Alan Vernon. Maybe. Maybe. I mean, there was definitely signs within the final months that she was being mistreated, and Harry alluded to this in his interview with the Today Show. And I always think Harry was like Harry Potter living in the cupboard under the stairs, yeah. Or living in a tiny cottage where he could barely stand up. I mean, it was just insane. Seeing those pictures from the Netflix documentary, literally, there are some people in the UK who live in nicer houses than what Harry was living in. Insane. Thank you, cookies and cream. Yes, stay safe, pray, and don't peg. Make sure that you're hydrated. Joe, you said, and if Harry wins this case, it will be a bonus. If he doesn't, he still wins, and he would have put a greater spotlight on the toxic media. Yes, indeed. Because I think that a lot of people just mindlessly read the UK tabloids. They don't consciously look at what it is that they're being told and why. Star, you said, have people joined Boozy's platforms as palatable? I haven't actually looked at it. I haven't signed up to it. I know that some other squaddies have. I know that Instagram is sorry, not Instagram. Twitter is very messy, but it still does the bare minimum functions that I need it to do. So to be honest, I don't see a need to leave right now. If people annoy me, I block them or I mute them. So, I'm not really that bothered still by Twitter right now. It serves the function I need it to serve. I can get breaking royal news and I can get, all of the other little stories that I give you guys throughout the day. So I know that some squaddies have joined it, but to be honest, I haven't looked at it myself to be able to give you a fair review. Rahini, I feel like we need a comprehensive spreadsheet of the Sussex's accomplishments to remind people of how cool they are. Well, there is one. I mean, it's not a spreadsheet, but Sussex Timeline, sussextimeline.com has been adding all of these things to their timeline. So you can go support them and spread that around. Sylvia, you said yes. Harry and Meghan are booked and busy. It takes away from the negativity. Yes, indeed. Dominica, they look like ghosts. Oh dear. Rahini said, I'm so grateful for the existence of the squad, just for the friendship. You guys make my day. Thank you, squaddies. I will twerk for you. Oh, thank you so much, Rahini. Thank you so much. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, guys, but I think they're saying evening prayer. Always interesting to experience other people's culture and differences in different countries and cities. And one of the big differences here is being a majority Muslim country, you do hear the prayer over the city, which is really interesting. I haven't really done much touring so far. I've just been kind of like letting my feet take me around the town. And Istanbul is a beautiful city. It's an amazing mix of modernity, culture, and tradition. So this weekend, I think I'll be touring some mosques and maybe like taking a street food tour or something like that. Yeah, yes, Teresa, another coronation, a much smaller one, I have to say. It was a lot smaller. Not all of the pomp and pageantry of the main one, but nonetheless, money that we're spending, money that Scotland's spending, right? Let's have a look. All right, I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much as always, everyone, and I will see you tomorrow. Ciao.